to support, and secondly, to create and establish, and thirdly, to define and empower. I believe the Women in Tech Alliance will be the crucial in tackling some of the most challenging issues, and will not only bring women to the front row of society, but will also strengthen European position in transformation technologies. If you want to know more about us, you can visit our Tech Forum networking platform. You can also reach out to me or any of my colleagues here. So today, our topic is Empower Women as Clean Energy Entrepreneurs. According to the research, renewable energy employs about 32% of women. Some women present the greatest potential in developing of the expansion of clean energy. Access to information, training, networks, and female role models can help level the playing field for the entrepreneurial women in the clean energy sector. So there are many information and discussion we'll hold inside our digital event today. You can also see that we have a great range of professionals who will be joined by our moderator, Svetlana, and I'm sure we are going to have a fruitful discussion. So again, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to welcome you all, and I hope everyone enjoys today's proceeding. Before I give the floor to Svetlana, I would like to also show you a short video about Women in Tech Alliance and to give you a little better understanding of our alliance. Thank you. Thank you so much, and I wish everyone you have a great success on today's webinar. Svetlana, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sierra. And now I would like to introduce you all to the EU Tech Chamber. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us. My name is Svetlana. Today I'm calling from Nairobi, and for my role, I am the coordinator at the EU Tech Chamber. For just some house rules already, on the upper left of your screen, there is a public chat function. Please feel free to pose questions to the panel, as well as interact with the audience present here today. On the bottom right of your screen, there is a hand signal, and next to it, there is a restore button. You can use this button to restore the presentation and follow our presentation here today. And right now, I will like to introduce to the EU Tech Chamber. So the EU Tech Chamber is a registered NGO with a mission and vision technology obliges, started in 2015 with the 3 goals: growth, sustainability, and competitiveness. We are co-funded by the European Union, and to enable businesses use technology for the benefit of mankind. How we do this, we structured into different alliances. These are regional alliances, tech alliances, as well as impact alliances. For the regional alliances, we have China, Africa, Latin America, and one for German-speaking Europe. The tech alliances include IoT, mobility, energy through to food farming and fisheries. And then there are impact alliances, finance, SDGs, climate action, and women in tech, which is organizing this webinar today. So each alliance holds a webinar each month, in total 16 webinars per month. The EU Tech Chamber is #1 EU platform for technology exchange and business networking at over 200 webinars per year with over 684 speakers. We have 20 expos, these are hybrid events, as well as virtual exhibition held around major European cities and events. And our registrations are at 50,000 plus 90% of our audience are company owners and decision makers. So after the webinar comes the networking meeting, and I'll also be sharing the link with you on the public chat function later on to welcome to the next networking meeting following this webinar here today. We'll give you exclusive market insights and access to speakers and panelists. These networking meetings are dedicated to exchange ideas on cooperations and projects, as well as unique access to EU tenders and worldwide funding. Each alliance has a different tender that they discuss and unique to them. So I'll invite you to join the alliance of your choice. I have left the link to the tech.forum in the public chat. When you create a profile, you'll be able to follow an alliance of your liking to be able to best participate in the activities, as well as their unique tenders and other worldwide fundings. Now, the EU Tech has a wider ecosystem than just events and networking. There are insights, there are programs, as well as the tech.forum. Each alliance has their own white papers, position papers, and the Women in Tech is also in preparations right now, discussing the 2022 position paper. You'll find these discussions happening on our networking meetings. Then every week, the EU Tech Chamber sends out a newsletter on the different events that are going to happen that same week. EU tenders, as introduced in the previous slide. And then we have the Visions for Europe magazine, which is a quarterly print magazine. We feature articles, how we're using science, innovation, and technology to transform society sustainably. And this magazine has a reach of to 10,000 European decision makers, as well as 100,000 readers. For programs, our tech team gives social media support to promote as well as market your company, your program, or your project, and to align also your company with ESG goals and other digital transformation support, and also to give you a climate friendly certificate under the climate action partnerships. For awards, and each alliance holds an award each year. This they hold the expo, each and the expos end in awards. We have one coming up, the SDG Awards, in November 24th this year, and we'll have 17 winners for each SDG category, and each winner will receive a marketing and promotional package valued at 10,000 euros. I have left a link in the public chat that you can use to join the Women in Tech LinkedIn group, and please feel free to use it and then join. We'll post now when the application process for the SDG Awards will be open. Our tech team will give you a virtual booth. You can move it to the virtual expo, and you can create and manage your own events on this virtual booth. And then to engage and benefit, please, these are the contact details of my colleague Marcus, as well as Federico. Well, that was the EU Tech Chamber introduced, and now I would like to turn to the webinar here today. I'd like to welcome you all to the Women in Tech Alliance webinar on empowering women as clean energy entrepreneurs. I'll be your moderator today. And on the panel, we have Kelea Dileruda, who is the founder of Women in Energy Trust, Botswana. Karima will be joining us later on. She's the president and founder of Women Association in Green Economy, Algeria. And also we have Jen Nakasamu, who is the CEO of Green Belt energy. I will introduce the panel, but if you're joining us right now and you cannot see the presentation, please hold you click on the bottom right icon next to the hand signal and to be able to restore and follow the presentation that we have here today. And so first on the panel is Keleadile Ruda, who holds a bachelor's in energy engineering from Botswana International University of Science and Technology. She has 5 years of working experience in the energy industry of Botswana, most of which have been spent as a solar energy engineer. She co-founded the Women in Energy Trust with the aim of fostering a gender-inclusive environment in the sustainable energy value chain, as well as creating opportunities for mentoring and inspiring young girls to choose STEM careers. Keleadile also recently started her own company to penetrate the market in terms of renewable energy, project development, and management, and has various certificates from short courses and is a firm believer of continuous education. Also on the panel, we'll have Jen, who is the CEO of Greenbelt Energy and a renewable energy consultant. Jen is a recipient of prestigious international awards, including the 2022 Total Energy of the Year and 2021 Meaningful Business Leader Award, as well as the 2021 SEED Awards. She is a climate activist and has represented Zambia on numerous platforms such as the 2022 World Expo in Dubai, 2021 WTO Public Forum, and holds an MBA in oil and gas management and a certificate in renewable energy project planning, design, and development from the International Renewable Energy Agency. So first on the panel is Keleadile, and just a second as I mount your presentation. And so please, Keleadile, the stage is yours. Your 8 minutes starts now. You're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Hi. Thank you, Svetlana. Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon, good evening to the panelists, the moderator, the organizers of this webinar, as well as everyone who has joined us for this engagement this morning. I will, like to start by presenting my specific participation to becoming a women clean energy entrepreneur. So as Svetlana has already introduced, my name is Keleadile Ruda. I founded, together with 5 other women, the Women in Energy Trust in Botswana. We founded it in 2018. And this trust was mandated to creating a gender-balanced representation in the energy industry. And we founded this because, after we graduated, we realized that we didn't really, we were underrepresented and as young women, and we didn't have mentors that there were very few women who were in the industry that we could look up to and turn to. And so we decided to, come together and develop this initiative to, help us penetrate the industry, as well as pave way for the upcoming women who would be graduating after us. We have undertaken various initiatives directed towards sustainable energy development in Botswana. Some of those initiatives include public speaking, include engagements such as this one, local and international webinars, and they also include collaborating with other stakeholders in and out of the industry to drive the sustainable energy development mandate. We do also want to create a space to foster development of innovative startups we've seen a number of startups rising from the energy engineering graduates, probably to tackle employment issues. And we just want to create a space that will enable them to build or groom their startups, draw up bankable proposals that they could potentially submit with financing stakeholders. You may contact us as on the screen, our email, our numbers, and you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter as Women in Energy Botswana. Continuing on with my presentation this morning, I'd like to touch on, participation of women in clean energy in Botswana. I have already spoken on the number of startups rising from energy engineering graduates. Now, the industry landscape right now is dominated by solar energy companies, right? So for solar photovoltaic systems and solar borehole pumping systems, so farming basically. And, the graduates have realized gaps here and there in consultancy, in energy auditing, in, green buildings and management. And that's sort of where they are led to. That's the startups that they are developing. Also, some private companies here in the industry, the very well-established developed ones, have policies in place in their workplaces to enable and encourage women to apply for roles in their companies. They would have a specific percentage of women they want to employ in their company. And that, would be something that is commendable. And it's something that encourages the participation of women in sustainable energy. So that is one of the commendable areas as well. But we still lack in having women in higher leadership positions, right? That the younger ones can sort of look up to, and the younger ones can be groomed by and mentored by. So women in leadership in the energy industry here in Botswana is still underrepresented. But with our trust and with other startups that are coming up, we do believe that this area will be penetrated, and we will start to see more and more women in higher leadership positions. Now, some of the challenges to growth, or some of the market barriers, right, for women to penetrate the industry. One would be intimidation, but I think that could be a minor one, because women are becoming more fierce and more relentless in their voices and, in their space. A major one would be work-life balance. Being a woman in Botswana, 34.6% of businesses in Botswana are female-led, but the limitations are that these companies are small and they have limited growth and expansion. Now, that is a barrier, and it challenges that women-led company to grow and become something more and well-established. And this contributes to the work-life balance. And there's a higher proportion of female-headed households living in poverty. So creating a work-life balance becomes a challenge when you have, children to raise and a family a household to take care of, all the while having your career to elevate and to launch. Some other market barriers include limited opportunities directed at women for upscaling their skills. Companies, tend to offer further education within their structures, further education, further training experiences, and they're easier handed to our male counterparts than to the female counterpart. So that is one of the other limitations, as well as lack of knowledge, especially in rural areas. And we will see this because curriculums in rural areas, schools, are not encompassing of STEM subjects. They're not as focused or as directed to cultivate STEM subjects and encourage and incite an interest in STEM subjects, especially for the girl child. So lack of knowledge also will birth a difficult mindset to change. When you're used to a coal-fired power station providing electricity for years and years, changing one's mindset to saying, well, why don't we look into solar photovoltaic systems? Why don't we look into solar water heating? It will be a little bit capital intensive, but I assure you that the return on investment will be much greater. Having that kind of conversation has proved to be quite difficult, because changing the perspectives of people of people who are used to something that has been working for years is a little bit difficult. So I would say that challenges to growth, change of perspective, lack of knowledge, work-life balance, and some of the resolves that we could put into place or put into action. Our mentorship, I've already spoken on that. We need more women in higher leadership positions to mentor upcoming women. It's public speaking. Personally, I've seen, the impact that speaking on your story has. Coming from a university, we were founding students at our university, and the female group were very small numbers compared to our male counterparts. And so speaking about that experience will, encourage younger school-going children to persevere and to continue with the STEM subjects that they're already interested in. We can also introduce incentives and policies in workplaces. I'm trying to speak a little faster because I see my time's running out. Also, resolves to market barriers, introducing STEM initiatives to early age scholars. This, opens up their mind to more information dissemination, and access to the digital economy where, they can be on the internet and researching and reading and learning by themselves. And just more women to embrace the barriers, to be bold, to conquer them and spearhead the movement, and to be brave enough to speak out is some of the resolves that, we who are already in the industry and already in the space could adopt to help the upcoming young girls. That is my short presentation. Thank you so much for the engagement, and I'll open up for maybe 2-3 questions. Thank you, Svetlana.
Oh, thank you, Keleadile. Thank you so much for your presentation. And then I like about the note that you made about mentoring young girls to take on more STEM subject, but also to encourage more women through empowerment to join the energy field. And so before I ask you the question, and to our audience here today, please, on the upper left of your screen, there is a public chat function. And will you use it to pose questions to the panel here today? And in the meantime, I can see Jen, if you can hear me, could you join with your microphone, please, so that you'll be able to take us through your presentation. I see that you've entered with the mobile only, and we will not be able to hear you. We'll give you a second or two to be able to join. I see you have a camera. You have your microphone now. That's great. So Keleadile, I know that you have to leave us in a short while, but before you left, I had some questions for you. And before we have any questions from the public chat, I saw a few hands raised up. Please, if you have any concern, or you put them on the public chat. You can also private chat me. You can pose your questions, and then I'll be able to take them and present them to the panel. So I wanted to know from your presentation, Keleadile, what are some of the specific initiatives Women in Energy Botswana has implemented to drive the gender inclusivity mandate, please?
Thank you, Svetlana, for that question. We have specifically taken it upon ourselves to disseminate information, right? Impart knowledge. We are driving towards a knowledge-based economy. So we have engaged with stakeholders in the industry. Recently, we had a workshop. It was called Girls Excelling in Math and Science, where we collaborated with our previous university as alumni, and they hosted about 7 different schools with young girls who are already excelling in math and science. And, you know, we were there to speak on our experiences from being in the university and, you know, being outnumbered by the boys to, you know, entering the industry as, you know, at early stage and just as experiences being counted. And we saw great engagement for the young girls. They were driven, they were passionate, and it's that impact that we want to continue to do. We've had other engagements as well where we collaborate with other stakeholders and they call us for mentorship for young girls to incite specific interest in STEM subjects. And we also, you know, one of our members had acquired a certificate in being a trainer and trained, you know, young boys and girls in different schools across the nation in coding and robotics. So it's really just being specific and intentional about imparting or disseminating information on the STEM subjects to young girls.
Yeah, and lastly, to build on your last statement before I let you go, and I wanted to also know what kind of advice will you give graduates in the sector who are looking to be employed or to start up their own companies?
I would say be innovative. That's one thing that a lot of you know, funding competitions out there are looking for. There's a lot of local competitions and international as well that you could pitch your idea, but you need to be innovative and creative. So I would say that be as innovative as possible and, you know, keep your eye on the internet for all of these opportunities, these funding opportunities. And as an early entrepreneur, always have your pitch deck ready because you never know when you're going to need to present it at a networking event or, you know, in an office somewhere. Just always, if you have an idea that you want to be bankable and sellable, have your pitch deck ready. And lastly, just be brave and be bold and, you know, speak and stand on your ground.
Be bold and be brave and have your slide deck ready. I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much, Keladile. And now I would like to give the stage to Jen. Yeah. Jen, if you can hear me, please. I can see your microphone is unmuted. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for this forum. I'm grateful to the EU Tech Chamber for giving me the opportunity to share my story as well as a woman in energy. And I was super inspired by Keladile's story as well. I feel it's very important to mentor young women and give them that opportunity to also do what they want to do. So just about myself before I go into it, I'm kind of stunned. If you can share my screen, my connection on computer is a bit interrupted. So if you may please help me with that, I'll appreciate. So I'm Jane Nakasamu, and I am the founder of Greenbelt Energy. I'm based in Zambia. Greenbelt Energy is a company that is focusing on promoting access to clean energy in Zambia. In Zambia, the situation that we have is that 80% of our population actually dependent on charcoal and firewood for cooking. So you find that when we talk about the energy sector, most people assume that it's mainly just access to electricity and the like. Is also an important dimension of it all that hasn't really been focused on. That is the access to clean cooking energy And that is the specific one that Green Dot Energy is actually addressing. So how I got to deal with this situation, rather, how I got to find myself in this space is that one of the challenges that I noticed was that most people, when they're using charcoal and firewood for cooking, there is that smoke that is produced from charcoal and firewood that negatively affects the user. I'll give an example of my grandmother. So, seeing that she had grown up in a situation where she didn't have access to clean cooking energy, she was mostly cooking with either firewood or charcoal. And as a result, she developed cataracts in her eyes. So currently, she's unable to see in one of her eyes. And when she goes to the hospital, there isn't much that can be done because the condition is irreversible at this stage. So that's one story. And there are many other similar stories of women in Zambia and really who are facing challenges, health challenges because of their cooking energy. Traditionally in Zambia, you find that mostly cooking is done by women, and if they're from rural communities, they have the situation of collecting firewood from forests. So this is a time-consuming activity. Additionally, it also is dangerous. It's risky because some forests that they go to aren't safe. There are different challenges that they can find in those forests. So now the problem affects them in so many ways. And I think this is why personally I decided to venture in this space, because I noticed that there aren't a number of cooking solutions that are really addressing the need for people. So most clean cooking solutions are not accessible by people. Some people find most clean cooking solutions expensive. And from rural settings, you find that they don't have any other alternative energy solutions. So this is what made me venture into Green Dot Energy. And what we're doing is that we are addressing the access to clean cooking energy. So because our target group is primarily women, I feel that this solution is for women. But in order to produce a solution for women, there is need to engage women in the process. This is something that we have done as an organization by being firstly women-led ourselves. So we are a women-led organization. And additionally, we do work with a lot of women in the work that we do. You find that when we are installing the units, because what we focus on is turning waste into energy as a clean cooking solution. So we are turning waste, agricultural waste, food waste into biogas that is a safe cooking gas. In this process, we work with women also because trying to empower women as well. And this is a very labor-intensive process that takes place, setting up biodigesters that basically convert the waste into biogas for cooking. But we found that this is something that women can actually do. And this is a space that women have started to find themselves in Zambia. So there's a number of other organizations and companies that are also women-led that are going into this space, providing clean cooking solutions. So additionally, another situation that you find is that women voices aren't really heard on the policy level as well. Of course, in the value chain, we do as much as we can to encourage women to take part. We encourage women entrepreneurs to be part of our ecosystem, part of our value chain. And also within our organization, we work with women as well. But there's a policy dimension as well, where I find that women's voices aren't being heard. I think recently the government was trying to create a gender strategy to integrate women voices into policy dimensions, into the energy sector. But what shocked me about this process is that I was only engaged personally at the end of it. So they only told us rather of this once they had already developed the policy, once everything was done and dusted, and then they said, oh, by the way, this is what we're doing for women. So I think I questioned myself to say, okay, but then did you consult women in the process? Did you actually reach out to women that are working within the energy sector to discover what it is that they're going through, what challenges they're facing? And then this is when now they try to find out, but then of course it was too late because the policy is already out there. So another important dimension of it is also on the advocacy side of things, on national level as well. So this is why we've taken an approach as well to not just focus on the groundwork, but to do as much as we can to advocate to our policy makers to ensure that even as they are developing policies, even as they are developing strategies, they actually speak to real life women in the sector, and they actually speak to women that are going through the challenge. Because even as an organization, as a company, Greenbelt Energy does a lot of research. We do a lot of research before we launch a product. We try and speak to as many stakeholders as possible, especially the women who are trying to help out. So even though I personally am a woman, I will not assume that I understand what people are experiencing. So I definitely have to speak to the people themselves to understand what it is that they are going through personally. So that's been an important thing that we've also done in terms of advocacy as well. Now, when we talk about what further things need to be done, I feel like we need to also support women to enter the energy sector by providing them the tools that they need and the resources. Access to finance is also a very important one that you need. You know, for you to set up a company, you definitely need the resources. And you find that most financial instruments are not gender specific. They don't have a gender lens. So you find that, you know, there are certain things that they would request for, maybe loans, for example, would need collateral like land. But when you do your research, you discover that most women in Zambia do not have title, they do not have land, because there is a customary way that things are done that usually you find that it is a husband or a father that mainly gets, you know, the title and the like. So these are things that also need to be addressed to promote women to access these different financial instruments, and also to advocate for them to have, you know, title, to have land, to have ownership of resources and ownership of things. So as a company, we've grown in the sense that we've gone beyond just focusing on individual households, providing them with biogas for cooking, but we've also tried to look at how we can also look at communities. And an interesting way that we've done this is by working with other NGOs that have women cooperatives and women savings groups. So this way, we're sort of like tailoring our approach to ensure that women are able to access products, because as I mentioned earlier, access to finance is a challenge that women face. So you find that even though they want to participate in the clean energy sector, they don't have the resources. So them having savings groups and then having these different financial instruments enables them now to have that financial muscle to really do something, to really create impact, to really make a difference in their community as well. So one of the issues that we've been able to address as well is, aside from access to finance, is also knowledge. There isn't enough knowledge, and I think Kaladila spoke a lot about this, that there is not enough knowledge out there about how women can participate in the clean energy sector. Aside from just having businesses, there's also different jobs that are there for them in the clean energy sector, and there's skills that are needed. When I talked about, you know, the construction work that we do when we're installing biogas, you find that this is mainly men that do this sort of construction. So there's a company, I'll just speak about it briefly, known as Biogas Technology in Zambia. And this one is also a women-led company that focuses on promoting women in construction in the clean energy sector. So we are working with such companies to also boost the ecosystem, to also ensure that we have more women actors participating in this space, and to ensure that women have the tools and the skills that are available. I also speak about a few projects that are currently supporting women. We have an ILO project that is focusing on promoting skills in renewable energy, and they have been deliberate at providing women scholarships to learn, to go to school, and to also just develop the papers that they need to be able to develop, you know, the technical expertise that is needed. And I personally am a beneficiary of this ILO project. And I think once I went through the training that was under the Southern African Center, that's SACRE, for entrepreneurship and energy efficiency, after I had developed those tools, and after I had gotten that knowledge, it was then better and it was easier for me rather to actually effectively participate in the energy space, because you find that most people will not really take you seriously because they feel that you're not qualified, you don't have the knowledge because you're a woman, you don't know what you're talking about. The energy sector is for men. And but once you have the certification, once you have the paper, you don't have to argue, which is what I've been doing for a couple of years now. Now I don't argue, I just show them the qualifications, show them that I'm certified with, KGRTC, Sacre, IRENA, and then, okay, it's easier for you to get the job. And this has also boosted my company. This has also boosted myself in this space and helped me become a leader in the energy sector as well. So women entrepreneurs are being underrepresented in many different ways. And I feel that on a policy dimension as well, we need to ensure that our policymakers really have women representatives. So I'm happy to note that from Zambia, from the Ministry of Energy, we do have women on high level positions working in the energy sector, in the as permanent secretary, working with the regulator and the like. But we need to see more, because women in the boardroom, it's been noted that they're not listened to because their numbers are very small. So it's important that yes, we have women there, but we need to increase the number of women participating in different levels of policy making. And how can we help women entrepreneurs in the energy sector to grow? Definitely there's finance that is needed. There's finance that is needed for them to grow. I think we struggled personally as a company to raise the funding, because being women-led, it's quite difficult. But luckily, we got to access different financing through organizations that are specifically supporting women. I'll give an example of the Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center that really focuses on having a gender lens, on promoting women to access finance, on promoting women to get these resources and do what it is that they're supposed to do. And then how can women access international markets? I feel this is a really important one. And I know that the EU Women in Tech Chamber definitely is one important player to support women to access international markets. Because one thing about international markets is that they are very, very difficult to access because of the different standards that are there. And navigating that is really challenging. So I feel that partnerships are really important. I've been able to partner with a lot of organizations that already have a reach in the international market. So by partnering with them, I may not be, quite capable financially and in different levels, but because my partner is able, we can work together. I provide them my expertise, they provide maybe the financial backing, and then we're able to do that. So partnership development is definitely important. And I would be glad to reach out to different other women in tech within this ecosystem to see how best we can partner and definitely make an impact. So I feel that as Kelly has put it, even from early levels, we need to start promoting women in STEM. I'm very active with the Zambia National STEM Foundation, and what we do is that we support young girls, even from high school level, even from primary level, to have an interest in STEM, and also give them career guidance to say, oh, with IT, you can actually work in the energy sector, because IT is also very important when we talk about clean tech. We have a number of programmers on our team. We have a number of developers on our team that are very relevant to promoting our products and services. So that is also another way that they can effectively participate in the energy sector. Through the different technologies that we have, we definitely need women to have an interest in STEM, to develop the skills, and also have an equal playing field by giving them access to opportunities, allowing them to access resources, promoting their work, giving them the platform, just like what is happening today. We have a platform to share our work and talk about the impact that we're creating. So just a bit about the impact that we've made so far. So we've been able to train over 100 women and youth in energy and the environment. And these have become active, not only in their communities, but also within our value chain. We're currently working with different other partners to reach more people, more farmers, more women in communities, especially marginalized communities. Aside from that, we're also looking at how we can better support organizations and institutions in renewable energy projects planning, design, and development by offering our expertise through consultancy and our advisory services. We've also put a gender lens to that. So we also try and ensure that we're doing as much as possible to support women entrepreneurs to develop renewable energy technologies for their businesses and also benefit from that space. So having given this brief presentation about my work in the women in energy space, I will now just hand over to our moderator for any questions and any other further clarifications. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jen, for the elaborate presentation. And then now our last panel we had was Karima, but I don't know if Karima, if you could join us with microphone, please. Will you click on the audio button on your on the bottom left center of your screen and then select join with microphone? Then you'll be able to, to contribute your presentation here today. So, and then I'm taking a question from the public chat, and maybe Jen, you can support in answering this question as we are waiting for Karima to join. Ah, there you go. Hello. And then as Karima, will you join with your microphone, please? We can see you, but unfortunately we cannot hear you. And Jen, there is a question from Taiwo, and Taiwo is asking, what areas of learning should someone consider if they have a background outside of sciences, but want to pursue a graduate degree in renewable energy studies? And in the meantime, before you take that question, Jen, Karima, if you can hear me, could you please join with your microphone? We can see you.
Yes.
Yeah, now you can hear you. Perfect. Just let Jen answer this question, and then we can. The stage is yours for the presentation. Okay. Jen, please.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for that question. So on our team, we do have a number of, biochemical engineers that we work with because we're working in the bioenergy space. So it would be really interesting to also incorporate environmental and bioenergy into your studies. Additionally, it's also important to have the general understanding of energy. So if you can do renewable energy as maybe a graduate program, that would also help you have a deeper understanding of energy and then also have that understanding of science and different other, aspects of renewable energy as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. And now, Karima, please, if you can take the stage, I can hear you in the background. And then I hadn't introduced you already, but if you can turn on your camera again, and the stage is yours. Karima, can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. And now you're muted. You're muted. You cannot hear you. Could you unmute, please? All right. So in the public chat function, I have left a link to the next meeting that we have for the Women in Tech. We will be having a networking meeting on the 4th of August, 9 to 10 a.m. Central European Time. And we'll click on the link. The link will prompt you to register for the meeting, and then you'll receive a link to join the meeting room next Tuesday. We'll be having a session with the panelists as well to build on cooperations and projects, but also we'll be discussing the Women in Tech position paper. So if you'd like to contribute to that discussion, and then please register via the link provided. I see that Karima is back with us now, and I see that you're unmuted. Please, your 8 minutes starts now.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And excuse me for the network is not very good. Good morning, everyone. I about our work in Algeria.
Karima, your audio is not audible at all. Your audio is not audible at all. Maybe could you turn on your camera so that it supports with your audio delivery? If you can turn on your camera and start again, please.
To promote ingredient conversation. So we know that it's not
All right, and then I see that Karima is not here with us today. Please, if you have any final questions to the panel, and we'll be taking them shortly, but I'll be closing the meeting room in less than 9 minutes time. Just waiting for Karima to get back in. In public chat function, if you could scroll up, I've also left links to the Women in Tech Alliance LinkedIn group. Here you'll be able to post developments on your side, as well as keep updated with the latest EU Tech and Women in Tech Alliance activities. There is also a Women in Tech Alliance homepage on the public chat. And here you'll find our next events, the links to all our networking meetings, our knowledge product, which is the white paper from last year. We talked about 10 key recommendations of successful women in women tech, but also you can be able to set up a profile at the tech.forum and match with other companies present here today. Since there are no more questions from the public chat, I'd like to close the webinar here today. And then in appreciation to being panel with us, we'd like to present this certificate to Jane Nakasamu, and the tree has been planted in Africa by the EU Tech Climate Action Partnership. I will send these tree certificates shortly after the webinar. Please, if you cannot follow the presentation, there is an icon on the bottom right of your screen next to the hand signal. If you click on it, you'll be able to follow the tree certificate presentation. So Jen Nakasamu, a tree has been planted in appreciation to being panel with us. Thank you so much for making the time for the preparation as well as availability to the webinar today. Another tree has been planted for Keleadile, and Keleadilian will not join us finally right now. She had to leave for another engagement with the government of Botswana, but this certificate will be sent to you shortly. And Karima too, we couldn't get you, but hopefully please join our networking meeting, and then we'll be able to answer and also to interact more with you next week on Tuesday. So from me, it is a thank you and a goodbye.
Thank you so much.
You are currently the only person in this conference.